person who controls the bird, right? It's like he's trained him and everything. And so the bird starts out right here with his little beak and his little claws. There's the falcon. And he flies off. And falcons, like buzzards or whatever, it starts off circling in the widening gyre. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? So he's going to fly in a widening pattern. And he's a really big pattern there, right? So here goes the bird. He's flying. He's flying. And actually it should get littler, I guess, instead of bigger. So you can hardly see him. He's way in the sky. Okay, so there's your bird. Now, what happens if it gets really, really wide and really far away?
It turns into a tornado.
Hopefully not. Although that would fit with the poem. If you say, "Here, falcon," he can't hear you, right? Now, think about this time in history, right? You've got God or meaning or some kind of meaning. And turning in the widening gyre, the falcon, and to some extent that's us. We can't hear God, or even we can't hear or see or relate all the chaos to some meaning. And he's saying, what's the center of meaning? I can't see it. And so the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed. Think about this. He's seen lots of revolution, lots of war. Everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction. Conviction for what? It's meaningless, right? Everything is now social construction. It's like God is somebody that we made up, and so it's all social construct theory and all this. So don't believe in God. Somebody just made him up. So we don't have conviction. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passion and intensity. Now, this gyre is also, it says it's also part of his vision. His vision is a thing that, he was in love with a woman named Maud Gonne. Maud Gonne was an Irish nationalist, and she was a big mover and shaker and everything, and he was in love with her. And he kept proposing to her, and she kept saying no. And she wouldn't marry him because she thought she was an inspiration for his poetry, because then he couldn't marry her to that. I don't know, that is poetry or something. So she says no. Finally, he proposes to her daughter, and the daughter says no. I told you he's a weird guy.
Awesome.
So the daughter says no. So another woman, he finally proposes to and marries this other woman. And I don't know whether we should believe this or not, but okay, seances, you know what channeling is, or you know what channeling is? What's channeling?
It's like, what?
Drew.
I'm no expert, but I
Okay.
think it's like when you're doing it, you like tap into the supernatural side of things, and then you get to communicate, but you communicate with demons and that kind of stuff.
Exactly, yes. So his wife, I don't know if she was just trying to keep his attention on their honeymoon or what, but on their honeymoon, she started whistling at some point, and then she started communicating what the communicators were telling her. And so she explained that history, the whole meaning of the history of the universe, that it works in 2,000-year cycles. And so you start out at the part where it's really tight, a tight gyre, because there's where the meat of the meaning is, okay? And as you get closer to 2,000 years out, it starts falling apart. But as it starts falling apart, another meaning that is opposite starts coming into being, and I hope I'm drawing it right, it's kind of messy, but it's, as this one falls apart, this one comes to kind of solidify, and it starts. So history kind of goes this way and then this way, okay? Now, the thing that weirds me out is that I was reading this book late at night, final exam week in graduate school. I was reading Yeats' A Vision, and I got to page 13, I'm not kidding. And he was talking about that, well, his wife, after a while, she would stop Okay, at first she was doing the writing. She was like writing the stuff, and then she was like getting writer's cramp or something, and then we got the whistling, and she would narrate, and he would take notes. And so he was taking notes, and he noticed something on one page didn't jive with what was on the other page. And so he asks the communicators. He says, this doesn't work. The system's kind of messed up. And they responded that, well, that wasn't communication. That was frustration. Some of us are communicators and some of us are frustrators. And that part was from the frustrators. Mark out this stuff. And then we'll go back. And they said, we will deceive you if we can. And I'm thinking, why are you listening to these things? But anyhow, that's what they said. This is on page 13 of his book. I just took the book out of the room and left it out, and then I had nightmares. But anyhow, it was really creepy. I mean, but I don't know if she was doing this to keep his attention, or if she really was getting in touch with something, or if he made it up. That critics have done studies of what her educational background was. They don't think she could have made it up. She could not have made the stuff up because she wasn't educated enough. So it's very strange. But anyhow, this is a 2,000-year gyre, and he says that we are coming to, it's early 1900s, and he says we're almost at the point where that 2,000-year gyre is going to end. And then we'll come back with the other kind of system. In early 1900s, if we're almost at the end of a 2,000-year cycle, I mean, Y2K would have been a big deal for him. I don't know if y'all know enough to remember Y2K, but it was really, everybody's like, the world's going to end. He would have kind of been about, to think about that. But if you think about what happened 2,000 years before, Jesus is born, exactly. So this is the Christian gyre. This is the Christian gyre. And it's about to end. He says Christianity, and it kind of looks like that at this point. It's like nobody really believes anymore. Anyhow, it's all, we made God up and all of this stuff. So we're about to go back to a new kind of thank you so much for coffee.
It's a good coffee.
Yay, all right. Thank you. Okay, so we're about to go back to the old era, which would be that Egyptian, it's like Egyptian mathematical, it's masculine instead of feminine and Christian, it's hierarchical, it's kind of a harsh order, but it's this Egyptian order, and he says we're returning to that. So, I have to tell you that so that you don't misread second coming. Okay? Surely some revelation is at hand. It's not just that Christianity is ending, but something else is coming back to replace it. Okay? Something else is coming back, which preceded Christianity. He's not saying Christ is coming back. He's saying that pre-Christian ideas are coming back. So surely the second coming is at hand. Now, of course, he wants everybody to think, oh, Jesus is coming back. No, the second coming is at hand. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of spiritus mundi, it's kind of like Jung's collective unconscious. It's this weird thing. Anyhow, it's like all the archetypes of heroes and gods and all this. A vast image out of this thing that we all share all around the world. All of humanity shares archetypes of gods and whatever. So it troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with a lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs. Now tell me something. What has the lion body and the head of a man?
The Sphinx.
The Sphinx, exactly. And the Sphinx, where is the Sphinx? Egypt. Like I said, that pre-Christian Egyptian order. That's what's slowly, it's like it's coming to life. I just have this image of the giant Sphinx and it's in the pyramids and all that. He's coming to life. And it's moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. And, when you get circling birds, in a Western especially, what does it kind of mean?
Something's dead.
Something's dead. Or if you're out in the desert by yourself, it means, oh, you're about to die. You're going to, have thirst to death. Okay, so the real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. 20 centuries, 2,000 years, were vexed to nightmare. Whose rocking cradle was 2,000 years before?
Jesus.
Jesus vexed those 20 centuries, these 20 centuries before. It was that rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, the Sphinx, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. I mean, that's just, it's like, and I don't know, it's just, I think he's an incredibly great poet. He's one of the most important poets of the 20th century, but he's also kind of scary. He's a little scary. But if you think about what he's dealing with, you can see why. I mean, he's looking at death, destruction. So, okay. We won't worry about Byzantium for the test. We're going to move right on to, I would like for you to read The Bear. And once again, hold it, don't move, no noise, don't move for just a second. The Bear is a hunting story about killing a bear. There is also, again, a part in the middle that is stream of consciousness. It will not make sense unless you read it about 20 times. You start from the beginning and you keep going. It's okay, we'll explain it. It's a story of a slave that died and why she died, and there are a lot of biblical references about, it's just incredible. But anyhow, just get all the way through it if you can from Friday. Friday? Friday. Good, okay.